Sanctum 2 is in pursuit of a Titan, Rift wraps up its autumn harvest, and Neverwinter reveals its Shadow Mantle expansion. Hey everyone, I'm Ashlen with MMO Play, and I'm bringing you all that and more this week on MMO News. Sanctum 2 is in pursuit of a giant wounded Titan in its latest DLC pack. The expansion continues right where Road to Elysium left off, and now players must chase down the Titan who has fled to the outskirts of Elysium 1. For this pack, developers focused on increasing replayability, which resulted in 4 brand new maps that you get to pursue the injured Titan through. This DLC includes 7 new awesome perks and 2 brand new towers, which include the Mind Control Spire, which lets you take over the minds of enemies and sit back and relax as they kill each other off. There are also 2 new deadly weapons, one being the drone launcher, which in layman's terms is a portable aircraft carrier that fires small homing drones that shoot lasers at enemies. And of course, there's also 2 new enemies to test all of this out on, the Heavy Pup and the Blisk Blask. The General's successor, Command & Conquer, announced its beta launch this week, and in less than 24 hours after that, the game has already been cancelled. The game was supposed to be a replacement for Generals, but with a launch date set all the way in February, a 4-month gap is just too long of a bridge. Shortly after the announcement of its beta, the developer Victory Games decided to disband the team due to the negative feedback during the testing, which showed that the game would receive an unpopular reception at launch. The developer stated that part of being in a creative team is understanding that not all of your choices are going to work out. In this case, we shifted the game away from campaign mode and built an economy-based multiplayer experience. Your feedback from the alpha trial is clear. We are not making the game you want to play. Those of you who purchased the alpha can expect to get a full refund within the next week. This Halloween was filled with lots of goodies, including the official launch of the Lost Titans. After about 6 months of vigorous beta testing, the mythical MMORPG is now live. The game tells the story of Aristos, a fantasy realm that is governed by 2 titans, Hyperion and Ophion, or at least it was until Hyperion went missing. With the disappearance of one of their Titan rulers, the entire realm is in complete disarray, and it's your mission to find him. The Lost Titans gets its inspiration from many ancient mythologies, including Egyptian, Greek, and Roman. There are 3 different classes to choose: Warrior, Ranger, and Mage. Players are organized into 3 factions, or houses: Levitus, Talgaris, and Vindarman. The different houses fight against each other in PvP wars, so choosing which house to join is a very important part of the game, and because of this, players will unlock this feature after reaching level 15. The no-download game launched through ZQ Games site, which is also home to some other notable titles such as the Crystal Saga Origins. Rift wraps up its autumn harvest with a little treat known as Game Update 2.5, The Song of Dreams. The patch goes live November 6th and is promised to be filled with new dungeons, chronicles, silvers, and a mystery on Ember Isle. No other information has been released at this time, but while we wait impatiently to hear more, there is still the Autumn Festival, which will end on November 4th, just 2 days before the update is released. If you haven't yet, there is still time to try to get a hold of a spectral mount and other rare items. You could also spend your time battling it out on the Monster Mash Black Garden Warfront, which gives a 50% bonus to Prestige and a 100% bonus to Favor Notoriety. On top of all of that, the Steam players will be happy to hear that you can now play Rift for free. The game went free to play back in June, but was not able to on Steam until now. To replace the subscriptions, there are 3 special Rift Steam editions for players who want to begin their journey with some added perks and credits. Details of the editions can be found on our site or by clicking on the link in the description below. Blood & Jade, the Asian-inspired MMORPG by Reality Squared Games, launched their servers this week. In Blood & Jade, players are immersed in the warring states of ancient China, where mystical creatures roam the battle-hardened lands. The game has all the typical features of many of the Reality Squared games, such as lots of quests, a crafting system, combat abilities, and PvP. What makes this game different is its competitive guild system, where guilds can fight for territory and earn their right to the throne as Blood & Jade's emperor. Another unique feature is the goddesses, who act as a sort of companion. They can be recruited and nurtured to help you in your battles and campaigns. Area Games has finally revealed all of its classes for the up-and-coming MMORPG Aura Kingdom. Unlike most games where stats define a class, the classes in Aura Kingdom are defined primarily by their chosen weapon. The game will have 8 starting classes that at later levels can choose a secondary weapon, allowing them to multi-class. The 8 starting classes are the Guardian, Duelist, Ravager, Bard, Wizard, Sorcerer, Gunslinger, and Grenadier. The Guardian is a typical warrior class where its sword, armor, and shield are utilized as weapons. The Duelist is an invasive acrobatic assassin with dual knife wielding capabilities. The Ravager swings giant axes, halberds, and spears, comboed with large AoE crowd control skills. The Wizard is the typical bomb class that specializes in big elemental splash damage. The Bard is the muse of battle that keeps morale high while providing essential buffs and healing powers. The Sorcerer is the mage of dark magic who utilizes his or her stuns to immobilize enemies before blowing them up. The Gunslinger is a mid-distance marksman with multi-hit capabilities. And finally, there's the Grenadier, a new type of class that has been rising in popularity in Korean RPGs. The class is a heavy hitter that doles out long-range splash damage, making him a living, moving artillery. Earlier this week, Neverwinter announced its plans for its second free expansion, Shadow Mantle. The new expansion will introduce a new class, zone, and artifact system, and better yet, it's completely free. For those of you who like a little variety in their playstyles, but hate having to reroll characters, the Hunter Ranger might be your saving grace. This new class is a ranger that can toggle between melee twin blades and archer modes, giving players the best of both worlds. Switching skill modes causes the ranger skills to change according to the chosen mode. Not only does this class bring DPS to the table, but also crowd control and buffing skills. The flexible fighter won't get to hog all the spotlight though. The new level cap zone is called the Dread Ring, and it's a place where players will run into some familiar NPC faces, such as Celeste and Sergeant Nock. Even if you are level capped, there are still some awesome rewards just for completing the Dread Ring. Some of the best gear in game can be found there, as well as mounts, companions, and those shiny new artifacts I've mentioned. Artifacts will work as special items that give you active and passive skills when you find and equip them. There will also be a second Paragon path for everyone, which introduces new powers for each class. Alright guys, that's it for this week's MMO update. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe for all of the latest information. Again, I'm Ashlen, and I will see you next week. But until then, keep on gaming.